Hey YouTube, what's up? Today I want to be talking with you guys about what is going to happen on the Apple event coming up next week. It'll be Wednesday, March 2nd, and I'm showing you right now the invitation that was sent out to the press, and it's going to be very interesting to see what Apple does, but obviously you can tell it's going to be a iPad-based announcement, of course. I wouldn't see it being any other way with, that pretty obvious hint that there's going to be a new iPad. So, that's the main thing I want to talk about. I actually see a few other things in this announcement, not totally just the iPad Let's Go Home like it was last year. But let's talk about that and let's see what all we come to here. So first of all, talking about the event, who's going to present the event? It's going to be majorly interesting to me. Obviously, it's not going to be Steve Jobs. So Tim Cook's not a very good public speaker, so it's really up in the air and seeing who will actually be delivering this keynote to the press. I'm not saying it won't be Tim Cook, but it's not very likely. Next is, so now let's talk about the iPad 2 predictions. What I think the iPad 2 will have, not necessarily what I want, but what I think it will have. It'll have a rear and front-facing camera for FaceTime, obviously. And why I say a rear-facing camera, I've said this before. It's part of the FaceTime dynamic, and if you're holding this having a video call, which actually would be kind of cool, I think. It'd be another FaceTime device for Apple. You could flip around the camera and show somebody what's behind you, which is always, I think, kind of neat, even if it's not very high resolution. I do not believe it's going to have a Retina display. I'm not saying it's totally out of the picture, but I'm just believing that it'll take a monster video card to run it. The screen will be ridiculously high resolution, and maybe they'll bump it up just a little bit, but I don't see twice the resolution of the iPad now, which would be absolutely ridiculous. I, of course, expect it to be thinner and lighter because the current iPad is very heavy, as you probably know. It's 1.5 pounds. I'd like to see them at least shave a half pound off this, if not the whole pound itself, just make it a half-pound device, maybe a little bit more than that, but that would be awesome, because the iPad is really heavy, especially when you're holding books and things like, or trying to read a book or something like that. It does become really heavy. And then next, I would expect a faster processor, more RAM, so 512 megabytes of RAM, and a faster processor, maybe 1.2 gigahertz, maybe some kind of dual-core thing. I doubt it, considering the iPad 2 runs, or the current iPad runs really well with just the A4 it has at 1 gigahertz, I think. It could get faster, I think, in some areas, but overall, it is really fast. Next is the 3G versions. I always say the 3G iPad here runs on AT&T, and so what's going on here? I expect there to be a separate CDMA and GSM version. It's possible, but I don't see Apple doing that, but, who knows? Next is iPad 2 and my wish list, what I want it to have. And I just have 3 basic, things that I want here alongside some of those other things. I would like to see a universal, obviously. But moving on, I'd like to see them remove this black bar here at the top of the iPad 3G. It's it's just very ugly. It makes the iPad look kind of nasty, I think. Which most people do use their iPad with a case. But I still do think, well, I'm getting emails, aren't I? But I do think it kind of ruins the look of the iPad itself. You can see that peeking through, or perking through its head on the other side. So when you're watching movies, you got that ugly black bar staring at you. Next is, I want it less squared. I want it flat back, so it will lay flat on the table. So that way when you type, it doesn't wobble around on the table. I would really like to see that. And just less squared and easier to, or less just boxy. I really don't like the iPad's design currently to an extent, but I think it is nice for 2010, and I hope to see 2011 do something crazy, or something much better. Next is there will be no iPhone announcements at this event. I do not see any iPhone 5 like people are hoping. Nothing crazy like that. Nothing like that. I do kind of expect here, and this is why I say this. Apple has been known to do iOS-related events in the March to April range. So it is possible that Apple could say, okay, here's what iOS 5 is going to look like. Give developers plenty of head start to work on it, and do it on one event. Don't have to waste the money to rent another venue, because they're doing this at the Yerba Buena Center. They're not doing this on campus. So possibly, maybe not. We'll just have to wait and see. And next is just a quick update of Apple news and rumors. I do not expect to see this at the event, but it is possible, I guess. Quick update on the MacBook Pros. As you guys saw a few days ago, I did a video about the new MacBook Pros. Obviously, I was kind of wrong, but at the same time, I'm kind of right. The rumor mill has been spinning furiously, trying to figure out what the next MacBook Pro and iPad is going to have. MacBook Pro-wise, not exactly sure, much specs. I expect a bump in processor, and then I expect a Intel Light Peak, which is just a faster way to connect. It's going to be like a FireWire port, but it's not. And well, it's going to be like it's going to look like the mini display port. Rumoredly, we're not exactly sure, and it'll be kind of like FireWire, where you plug it in and it's super fast. It's supposed to be really fast using a kind of like fiber optic cable, I would believe. And it's going to have a larger trackpad, and that's pretty much it. That's all we have. I hear they may be dropping the dedicated graphics card and going to integrated graphics from Intel, maybe with the Sandy Bridge processor. I'm not exactly sure. But it will be very interesting to see how that all plays out for them. So that's my video today, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Comment on something if you don't like it. Comment on it if you do. Thumbs up and subscribe so that way you're automatically notified when I make a new video. And it just really helps me out if you guys do that. So thanks, and I'll see you guys in the next video.